Imagine you're floating in the ocean. Beneath you, somewhere in the blue water, a shark is swimming. Most people immediately picture one outcome: a terrifying attack. Movies, headlines, and decades of pop culture have taught us to believe that sharks are constantly searching for humans to eat. But here's the surprising part. If a shark actually notices you, there's a very good chance it will simply swim away. That sounds almost impossible until you understand one important fact: humans are not normal shark prey. And once you see the world from a shark's perspective, the mystery of why attacks are so rare becomes much easier to understand. Let's dive in. To understand shark behavior, we first need to understand what sharks evolved to hunt. Most large shark species spend their lives searching for fish, rays, squid, seals, or sea lions. Every one of these animals has a particular shape, swimming pattern, and energy signature. Over millions of years, sharks became incredibly efficient at recognizing these familiar targets. Humans don't fit that pattern. We're awkward swimmers. Our bodies are upright instead of streamlined. We move with long, irregular strokes rather than smooth, powerful movements. From below, a human doesn't resemble the prey most sharks evolved to catch. That single difference already reduces the chance of an attack. But things get more interesting when we look at how sharks actually detect the world around them. Unlike humans, sharks don't rely on just one sense. They combine several at the same time. Their sense of smell can detect tiny traces of chemicals in the water. Their hearing picks up low-frequency vibrations from struggling animals. A special sensory system called the lateral line detects movement and pressure changes. And hidden around their snout are tiny organs called the ampullae of Lorenzini, capable of sensing the weak electrical signals produced by living creatures. Instead of simply seeing prey, a shark builds a complete picture using multiple sources of information. That means identifying food isn't as simple as spotting a silhouette. It requires enough evidence for the shark's brain to decide that chasing the target is worth the energy and the risk. And that brings us to one of the biggest misconceptions about sharks. Many people believe sharks are mindless eating machines that attack anything they see. Reality is almost the opposite. For a wild predator, every attack carries consequences. A broken tooth, an injured jaw, or even a damaged fin can make hunting much harder in the future. Unlike humans, sharks can't visit a hospital if something goes wrong. A serious injury in the wild can become a death sentence. Because of that, sharks are naturally cautious. They prefer prey they already recognize and know they can capture efficiently. Humans are unfamiliar, unpredictable, and often much larger than the animals many sharks usually hunt. From the shark's perspective, we're simply not an obvious meal. Of course, this raises another question. If sharks rarely want to eat humans, why do attacks happen at all? One explanation involves something called an investigative bite. Imagine trying to identify an unfamiliar object underwater. Humans use their hands. Sharks don't have hands. Their mouths are one of the primary tools they use to investigate unfamiliar objects. A bite doesn't always mean the shark intended to feed. Sometimes it's simply trying to understand what it's encountered. Unfortunately, even a single exploratory bite from a large shark can cause severe injuries because of the incredible force behind its jaws. The shark often realizes almost immediately that the strange creature isn't normal prey and swims away. This is why many shark attacks involve only one bite instead of repeated feeding behavior. Another important factor is mistaken identity. This happens most often in areas where sharks hunt seals. From beneath the surface, especially in rough water or low light, a surfer lying on a board can create a silhouette that vaguely resembles a seal resting at the surface. The shark makes a rapid decision based on incomplete information. Once it reaches the target and gets a closer look, it usually recognizes the mistake. That doesn't make the encounter any less dangerous for the human involved, but it helps explain why so many attacks end after a single bite. Environment also plays a huge role. Sharks are more active in certain locations and at certain times of day. Murky water reduces visibility. Schools of fish attract predators. Areas with large seal populations naturally attract large hunting sharks. If humans choose to swim in exactly these conditions, the chances of an encounter increase, not because sharks are hunting people, but because people have entered places where sharks are already hunting something else. This is an important distinction. The ocean isn't our natural habitat. It's theirs. Just as hikers understand that bears live in forests, swimmers should remember that sharks are part of healthy marine ecosystems. That doesn't mean every swim is dangerous. It simply means wild animals behave according to their own instincts. Interestingly, different shark species behave very differently. There are more than 500 known shark species, yet only a small handful are responsible for the vast majority of serious attacks. Many species feed almost entirely on small fish or crustaceans. Some are so harmless that divers regularly swim beside them without incident. Others, like whale sharks, are the largest fish on Earth but feed mainly on tiny plankton. Grouping every shark into one category would be like assuming every dog behaves like a wolf. Species matter. Individual behavior matters too. Just as every dog has its own personality, sharks also vary. Some are curious, some are cautious, some avoid divers completely. Scientists who spend years studying sharks often observe individuals showing consistent behavior over time. This reminds us that sharks are living animals making decisions, not emotionless machines following a simple attack program. Human behavior can influence encounters as well. Splashing intensely, swimming near fishing activity, entering the water at dawn or dusk, or wearing shiny objects that reflect light can all increase curiosity in some situations. None of these guarantee an attack. They simply create conditions where a shark may pay closer attention. Perhaps the biggest reason people fear sharks so much has nothing to do with statistics. It's psychology. Humans are especially afraid of dangers we can't see. Standing in deep water, unable to view what's below, allows our imagination to fill in the blanks. One dramatic shark story can stay in our memory for years because it's emotional and unusual. Meanwhile, the millions of peaceful ocean swims happening every day receive no headlines at all. Our brains naturally remember rare, frightening events more vividly than ordinary ones. This creates the impression that shark attacks happen constantly, even though they're exceptionally uncommon. Ironically, humans pose a far greater threat to sharks than sharks do to us. Every year, millions of sharks are killed through fishing, accidental capture, and the shark fin trade. Many populations have declined dramatically over recent decades. Because sharks reproduce slowly, losing large numbers is difficult to recover from. Healthy oceans depend on healthy shark populations. As apex predators, sharks help maintain balance throughout marine ecosystems by controlling prey populations and removing weak or sick animals. Without them, entire food webs can become unstable. In other words, sharks aren't villains. They're caretakers of the oceans. So why do sharks rarely attack humans? Because evolution never designed them to hunt us. Our bodies don't match their normal prey. Attacking unfamiliar animals carries unnecessary risks. Many encounters are cases of mistaken identity or simple investigation rather than hunting. And when sharks realize they've encountered something unusual, they often choose the safest option available. They leave. For an animal that has survived for more than 400 million years, caution has always been a better survival strategy than attacking everything it sees. The next time you hear about a shark attack, remember that the event is newsworthy precisely because it's so rare. In reality, the vast majority of sharks spend their entire lives doing exactly what evolution prepared them to do: hunting natural prey, avoiding unnecessary risks, and keeping the oceans in balance. And perhaps that's the biggest surprise of all. The animal we've spent decades fearing has probably been trying to avoid us all along.